I'll actually learn from someone as well that has a vehicle like myself and drives it, because you understand more of it how. Whereas if I were to do this on my own and I made a mistake, I'm like, at least I have someone there as an oversight to, you know what, Ruben, this is what you did wrong, or how to correct it.
It just pops up, you know. You got it.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm back.
We're already going. So Ruben, have you ever done any oil changes before? Or?
Yes.
Oh, lift up on that part right there.
On my truck, that's back home where I'm from. So, but not on the 4C. Why is it not?
But yeah, try to lift like straight up.
There we go.
There you go.
Putting up a fight this early morning. No, yeah, to answer your question, Dan, this is my first time for a 4C. For other vehicles, yes. But since I want it always, I'm the type of person that, since when it's a vehicle that I'm not used to,
yeah.
I mean, everybody says, well, it's just a basic oil change. But I mean, to me, I'd rather be safe than sorry and make sure that I'm not messing around. So first things first, right? Take this out.
Really, first thing first is like, I think we should get the car up on the ramps, like especially since your driveway is like sloped like this. Yeah, the engine and everything's in the back, so you gotta put the ramps in the back. Yeah, this thing can be a little tricky backing up onto ramps. You'll get it going, and like once you get up to like right about here, I'll probably tell you to like stop.
Stop. All right.
A little bit more. Stop. Give it a little bit more gas. Sorry. Stop. Hey, that's perfect. Yeah, because of the dual clutch in this thing, it makes it a little tricky to,
I got it there.
To pop it up. Yeah. That's just right, man. You said you had some extra like old t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah, I have another shirt. Let me go get that.
It's a good idea to like lay them up on top of the engine, just so we don't spill anything. The way this guy works is that we're gonna feed this tube down your dipstick tube, and then the thing's gonna pump, and it's gonna, you know, pump the oil out this side, and we'll get some old containers and pump the oil into there.
So remove the dipstick out again, correct?
Yeah. What I usually like to do is like take some t-shirts or towels and kind of lay over the top of the engine, just so that, you know, as we're, you know, moving the tubes and stuff around, like they're not gonna
make a mess,
make a big mess.
A spill.
Exactly.
Removing this again, the dipstick. Mm-hmm. We have an audience today. We got some birds singing.
Yeah, it's like a Disney movie, you know, the birds are singing. And
birds are singing. Here we go.
So as you're putting this thing down, putting the tube down there, you'll get to a point where it kind of starts to stop, and like don't force it past that, because we could get into a situation where it gets like coiled up like inside your oil pan, and you know that's not good. But
all right, let me see. Well, so far it's not giving me no
resistance.
No resistance. Yeah. Okay, now it's there.
Okay, yeah. So like stop right there, and we'll check it, because like we'll know right away if it's in the right spot. Because when we turn this thing on, it'll start sucking oil, you know.
And like you said, we will need a tub, right?
I usually just use some old containers, you know, and it makes it easy to fill up.
Yes.
So now we gotta get this thing hooked up to the battery. Obviously the positive goes on there.
Yes.
The negative, you can kind of just hook to anywhere. I was thinking like just like a part of the engine or something.
Oh, got it.
That way you don't have to like kind of stretch that thing like across the battery like that.
All right, let me see. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead and hit it.
Hit it. 2, 3, get it. Wow.
And let's see, like sometimes with this thing,
more.
Yeah, sometimes like you have to like move it back and forth a little bit before you.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you have to like move that thing like up and down until like you finally like hit the oil, you know.
Wow, look at this. I mean, it's coming. Now, usually you're just there until completely whatever comes out of it. So usually that's what kind of, what's the process on the wait time on this?
It's usually about 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, like 2 to 3 minutes that it usually takes.
The reason why I asked, when I saw your video of you said that it was been a minute on that one.
Yeah.
I remember when you were doing that, and a little meme showed up from SpongeBob, and that it's like, wait, it's still waiting or waiting, something like that. So I was curious now with this.
Yeah.
Being a factor where it's compared to what you used before, it goes quicker, like you said, right?
Yeah, and you know, it also kind of depends too, like if the oil is cold or if it's warmed up, you know.
Okay.
You didn't really run the car very much. So
no.
It's pretty much cold.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit longer, like when it's cold like that, but.
I appreciate you coming to give me a hand on this.
Yeah,
just like our first meeting when we did the whole alloy tank change. Yeah. That was fun, you know. Appreciate your viewers that commented on that and asked questions, because that also helped me when you followed up to change the cap, you know.
Right,
That's good.
Yeah, I threw the little jump starter pack on there just to make sure it doesn't run his battery down, and also it kicked this thing up into high gear.
Now on the back on this one, the jump starter.
Yeah.
Is that a good brand that you would recommend? I know there's so many brands out there.
That thing is awesome.
Okay.
In fact, I've got a couple other ones from this brand, and I just recently got this one in to test, and this one has been fantastic. I really
That's
like
awesome.
it.
That's good. That's good.
And we might need to like move this just a little bit.
More? Okay.
Yeah, it's not coming out like as much as it normally does. This pump maybe is getting worn out. I don't know.
Okay. How many times have you used it, or how many times have you shown people like myself with the oil change, or am I your first one?
Oh no, this one's been like several. I don't even know how many actually off the top of my head. But.
Yes. And the reason why I ask a lot of questions is because as somebody that wants to learn, like I make a list of like, okay, what do I need to start learning how to do these small things on my own before having to go to either a dealership or other services, because these are things that you can do on your own. It's good to know, and that's why I appreciate you, Dan, coming to show me kind of how to do these things, which some people would say, well, this is just basic knowledge or whatever, but to me, for someone doing service or changes on a vehicle like this, I like to learn from someone as well that has a vehicle like myself and drives it, because you understand more of it how. Whereas if I were to do this on my own and I made a mistake, I'm like, at least I have someone there as an oversight to, you know what, Ruben, this is what you did wrong, or how to correct it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you learn a lot from enthusiasts, you know? Yeah.
Well, like Star Wars, I like to see like I'm you're a master Jedi, and I'm just trying to get there, So. Now, will it usually fill up all the way up or no? In your
this container would be pretty much full. It should be, yeah.
Timing belt. How would you say, when do you recommend when that, like for example, my vehicle is a 2017, how do you know more or less this is just a general question for anybody, how do you know when it's time to make a change in your timing belt?
So it goes by either mileage or time. On the 4C, you're supposed to change it every 5 years, which I think is a little frequent. Honestly, like I think you're probably good to go longer, because like most cars, like you change timing belts usually around like 10 years or 100,000 miles. So,
oh my gosh. And so is that depending on the vehicle?
It depends on the vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that I was watching a video in itself, changing it, the timing belt. It requires.
Oh yeah, you gotta take this whole fender off, but it's actually kind of nice because like once you get this fender off, you have like real easy access to the whole front side of it, and so it actually makes it a lot easier to get to the timing belt and stuff than in a lot of other cars. Like we're gonna put a rag like underneath the filter, because like whenever you undo the filter, like a lot of oil does come down.
A lot. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. But this process, what you're doing, and he had said as well, it eliminates leaks. If you were to do this.
It does, and also like if you were to drain it from below, like at the oil pan, you have to take the belly pan off, because like the only way to like get to like the drain plug is to like remove that belly pan, and it's held on by like, I don't know, like 20 something screws or something like that.
Hey, yes, I saw it. Before you arrived, I was looking at it just for curiosity, and I was like, those are a lot of screws.
All right, we just heard the pitch of the pump change a little bit. That pretty much indicates that it's about done. And we've pretty much filled up this container too, so.
It was amazing how you heard it, because I heard something and that right away alerted you, like, wait, we're almost there.
Right, yeah.
I saw you react. You're like, yes, we're almost there.
You can go ahead and like turn it off. So as you pull it out, you probably will like get a little bit of oil. Okay. So that's why I like to like protect everything with, rags everywhere. Yeah, and I was telling Ruben, I think this pump is probably about done. They're cheap pumps. I mean, they cost less than 20 bucks. So it's not like they're expensive, And you get them off of Amazon. But yeah, you can use them, I don't know, maybe like a dozen times or so, and then they crap out on you. So, but this one looks like it's about done. Time to throw this one away, get another one. There'll be a link down in the description below on like where you can get these guys too. Another like nice thing about doing an extraction pump is like when you are pumping it into a jug like this, it makes it easy to take to the recyclers or dispose of, Yeah, there you go. You got the Mopar filter, and we got that off of Amazon, and I sell them on my website too, but you can get them off of Amazon, like nice and easy. I'll drop a link for those in the description too. I've covered this in some other 4C videos. It's a Mopar filter, and you can see the Mopar part number and everything, but it's actually a man Hummel filter.
and it's W6014. It just kind of depends on what you can find where. Like sometimes you'll find like a man filter like a little cheaper than the Mopar one, vice versa. That's really the only filter for these guys. There's other filters that fit. No other filter has the same bypass pressure specification as these do. For whatever reason, these guys have a super high bypass pressure. I don't know why, but there you go. You need to get under here.
You had mentioned before, it's right there. I don't know if your grabbers could see.
Yeah, see if I can get under here with you.
Gonna be right there.
Yep. And you don't have to take off the belly pan to access the filter, unlike the getting to the drain plug or whatnot. But what you are gonna have to do is like underneath the filter and on top of your axle shaft there, what you'll want to do is like you'll want to put like a rag under there because oil is going to come out of there.
Okay.
And I would, use a rag that you're just going to throw away because you don't want to have to wash a super oily rag.
I'm going to put it underneath right here, correct?
Yeah, underneath the filter, like on top of your axle there.
Okay, you know how to use one of these guys, right? Because you've used them before.
In a minute.
Yeah.
Let's make sure you got the strap on there the right way, that as you tighten it, it'll go counterclockwise, right? Yeah, you might have to like kind of pre-tighten it a little bit, and
you're limited to space here. That's
yeah, you are limited in space. I kind of like pre-tightened it a little bit and pushed it up like high on the filter, and then I was able to get it where you can, you just move like about an inch. That's about all you can move.
Wow.
But that's it. That's how you do it. So I'll let you get it back in there and finish it.
Okay.
You can probably take the wrench off now, and I bet you can just spin it by hand.
All right, I'm waiting to see oil. Oh, there it is. Just like you said. I want your subscribers to see. There it is, and it's gonna come. Now, in that instance right there, do I completely take it off or let that slowly just start to come down?
I mean, you can wait, but I mean, it's just go ahead and take it off because I mean that's gonna be the bulk of it. Whenever you take the filter out of there, don't tilt it downwards. Like try to like tilt it up, or like so the opening of the filter is like facing up, just so like whatever else is in there doesn't drain out like on top of you. Yeah, just like that. So keep it facing up like that. Yeah, it comes out. It definitely comes out a lot. Someone was complaining about that just the other day, like on the forum. They were like, man, it makes a big mess like whenever you take the oil filter off. And it's like, yeah, you just soak it up with rags. No big deal.
And here, like check this out. This is the reason why I was telling you to hold it up. Because look how much oil is like still in there. Still practically full.
Yeah. So we less of a mess. We just saved us from creating on the belly pan and on the street. In situations like that, as you can see, we're clearly seeing that it's still dripping. Do we move forward with the process of this?
Yeah, just go ahead and put the new one on. You'll want to take like a little bit of the oil. You can like just dip your finger like in here, and yeah, you'll want to like lubricate the gasket. Yeah, exactly. And the rubber part too. Yeah, put a lot on that rubber part.
That's good, right? That should
be. That should be good. Yeah, that's going to prevent the oil filter from sticking, getting locked up in there.
And just screw it on.
You're right. It's a lot easier when you lubricate it.
Yeah, well, that prevents it from sticking when you go to take it off next time too.
Good. Noted. That's good to know.
So with this guy, like you don't have to use the wrench to tighten it. You just want to like tighten it as tight as you can get it with your hand, and that'll be good enough.
I think it's good.
It's probably good. Like you don't have to go super tight with oil filters, honestly.
Ta-da! Brand new, as you can see.
Yeah, nice.
It was good. It was awesome. I think it's pretty easy. It's just the part of being patient and time consuming is getting the oil out. That's what probably took the longest.
Sure, yeah.
But other than that, it was good to know something.
Now you gotta get your new oil in.
That's very important.
Don't forget that part.
We're gonna use all of them, correct?
No.
Okay.
We'll probably use like 4.5. Yeah.
This is what we'll be using.
The Pennzoil Platinum Euro.
Which, thanks to Dan, he provided the link on Amazon to purchase them, and it arrived in 2 days. So it was good.
Yeah, there's really kind of only like 3 oils I ever recommend. It's the Pennzoil Platinum Euro, a red line, or AMSOIL.
What's with everything being tight today? Maybe it's indication I need to hit the gym.
Wow, yeah.
It is tight.
Why is it so tight? There you go. Who put that on last? I think that was me.
How the engine looks like, kind of dirty. I'm sure you also, other fellow Alfa 4C owners, don't judge me.
You drive your car a lot.
I do. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I use this for everything. I love driving it, you know, and that's gonna happen eventually, the wear, and I just love it. All right, 3, we're going on to the 4th one.
Yeah, we'll do the 4 and then check it.
I mean, it's crazy. You wind up with almost, you know, half a quart inside the filter itself.
It's one of those things too, is like, you know, like you know, drive it a little bit and then like in a few days, like check the level again and just make sure. Yeah.
All right, that's 4.
Almost to the top of the hash marks there.
Maybe like a quarter of another one. Half to a quarter of another one.
Good, that's good knowledge right there.
So I don't know if you saw the hash marks on the dipstick itself. Those hash marks are a quart.
A quarter.
You know, so you can kind of like gauge like where it is on those hash marks, like how much more you need. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, like maybe like put it down to, you know, like right about here.
Right about there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you were mentioning earlier the pointing.
Yeah, the hash marks on here, like the hash marks inside the hash marks is going to be like a quart, you know. So, but yeah, it looks like it's just right there, like right at the top of them. I'd say you're good.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dan. I think that what I learned from here today is bring extra rags. It's gonna be messy, but if you plant your rags correctly, like you showed me, you avoid less of a mess. And also, I think the most time consuming that takes a while will obviously be
extracting
the oil. But other than that, the twisting part, yes, took a while as well. Not took a while, just finding the way properly how to work with it and remove it, because you're limited to space there. Like it's hard. So this is my 2nd time being part of this, Dan, and thank you so much for coming by to help us out.
Yeah, man. Like I'm glad I can show you this stuff. And you know what else you learned today? You learned about these awesome Book Auto Works t-shirts too. So,
I need one. I'm getting one.
So like on the website, there's like a 4C one. So you can probably get the 4C one. Like this one is a Dino one that I've worked on this Dino before. But yeah, but there's gonna be a link in the description below where you can get these awesome shirts.
Well, thanks for letting me help you out with this, man.
Thank you, of course.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
I wanted to see this.